Ladies and gentlemen, may I please have your attention? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are now live with BB3 TV.
Guys, welcome to BB3 TV. Make sure you like, share, follow, subscribe, and most importantly, enjoy. Welcome to Real Talk with Dom. It's been over a year since I've been by myself talking about the paranormal and many. BB3 is my baby, and we like to be variety entertainment, but sometimes I like to go back home as far as how much I love the paranormal. Tonight we have part 2 of a discussion we had last night with an absolute artist. Somebody who made his way in the cinema business of where I've come from. He's also now a big part of BB3 TV. Now he's paranormal. He has so many stories to tell you, and we're going to get right into it. Just like back in the day, what I told you. Welcome to Real Talk with Dom. We are here. We are now. Discussion 2 with Barry Anderson. Without further ado.
Hey, Doug.
Barry, my friend, how are you?
Long time no see.
Indeed. Yeah, last night. So I got to play this last night from a little bit of a background. So to have behind me, I forgot to do that. It's been a long time since I've done Real Talk with Dom. So, Barry, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for being part of my first show back, and especially with the paranormal as well. Barry, you are just a great character. Carmen's already saying what's up. Farmer's saying what's up. How are you? You're just a cool individual.
Hello, everybody.
This is the reason why I reached out to you. You and I talked on the phone, not only for your cinema, and then we just got into a deep conversation. It was supposed to be like a 15, 20-minute conversation about how I want you maybe on a show, and then
2 hours later.
Yeah, we just hit it off. So, Barry, tonight is part 2. I'm going to give you the option to, because you're going to be introduced in a moment. So I want to introduce you in a moment, but I want you to say who you are and where you come from, what you did from your past, and then we'll get into tonight's show.
Okay, sure. Well, I'm Barry Anderson. I'm originally from, where am I from? Western New York State originally, but I've been living in Florida for many years. Since about 1982, I believe I moved to South Florida. And I began making my living as an artist, and I worked in the film industry doing makeup effects work. And I've worked for the military doing, medical training devices. I have worked for Ripley's Believe It or Not company for 17 years. So I've had a long history of working in the entertainment industry and in other areas. And then I have my life outside of work, which is what we're going to talk about here.
Absolutely. So Barry, as we go from there, tonight is paranormal.
Yeah.
What brings you to the paranormal world?
Well, I didn't have a choice, but coming out publicly, this is my first time. People who know me well or who have worked with me, I've heard stories through the years, or my family and we talk about these things all the time. But for everybody else, some people are going to be like, whoa, we didn't know this about that guy. But yeah, I mean, all the way back since I can remember, probably the age of 4, I think back about things that were occurring in my life, and I go, did that really happen? And that seems so amazingly strange, but yet I'm pretty sure that those things were happening even at a very young age. And just throughout my entire life, I've had a lot of unusual experiences, and so have many of my family members as well. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's break it down right from the start. What was your first encounter? And what made you really consider that there is something? I mean, let's just dive right in.
Yeah, when you're a little child, you don't know. I didn't know anything about religion. I mean, I
Sure.
was four. I did not know about aliens and UFOs really or anything. I never saw a horror movie at that age. I may have watched Art Linkletter when I was, that's way back. I mean, they were talking about the 60s here. I was a little tiny kid at home with my mom, so I was not exposed to a lot of things, but yet I remember being open, going to bed at night and seeing the orbs coming into the room. Sometimes I felt like there was, I mean, I'm going to talk about things that I've never talked about hardly
Just
to anybody.
fly, my friend. Just fly.
I opened up to you and now I'm going to do it, but I said I was going
Let's
to
do it.
come forward. And you know what? I remember being consciously aware that things were going on. And so I felt like I was having telepathic communication, I should say,
Mhm.
with some beings that would come in. And there were times when I would be excited to think that here's this, my friend, and they would take me on some kind of a out of the body adventure. If I'm assuming that it was some kind of astral projection and show me incredible things and tell
Sure.
me and teach me things. And whether that's something because I think I was just very open, and that means that something maybe from a past life, possibly, or some higher being was trying to show me things. But that also left me open to darker things. And I had a lot of extremely frightening experiences as well. So, it's just kind of, I've throughout my life, I've wondered about these things, also seeing ghostly apparitions and so forth. And, that was, preschool, kindergarten, going into in first grade. These things were happening. And I don't recall ever speaking about it to my parents. They probably knew that there were times when I would have some kind of night terrors. But, I think that there may have been, for some people, I think everybody has abilities, but in my case, my grandmother was a well-known clairvoyant, and so I think this runs in the family, and we can have a good conversation about her. She was very special, but
Sure.
yeah, it started at a very young age for me, and I didn't know that nobody else that was abnormal at the time. When you're a little kid, that was just
Yeah.
part of your life.
Well, I mean, like you kind of just said it clearly. I run into a lot of people, and Shane Anderson. Hey, big brother.
That's my bro.
That's
Hey,
awesome. Let's put him back up. Go shout him
Can
out.
can we talk about certain things today a little bit?
I like the way you just said it. It's almost like a bloodline too.
Yeah,
I get some of my abilities too. I don't really talk about it much, but some of my abilities come from a bloodline as well. I mean, right down from my grandmother to my mom, and everybody. I mean, it just comes with. I don't know if it's within the family, or they say you could be taught this. I'm not sure if you could really be taught this. I mean, you kind of it's kind of with you as an empath, right? It's kind of born in your blood.
yeah,
You've probably seen things as a little child.
yeah,
You know, my grandma used to say, I remember her laying in the room, and she had like a bedroom right beside me as we go, and she goes, "Do you see the white shadows in the house and stuff like that?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course I see them,"
yeah,
and hear things, and you go to bed and you can hear things talk to you, and these are kind of empathic things. They've also
sure,
said that it's kind of like a radio that you almost cannot shut off.
yeah.
When you hear things like
Children,
this.
I
So
believe children are very open, and
sure,
a lot of times as time goes on, they close up, that open
right,
ability, whether what that is, their aura or whatever that shines or has the ability to see things. And a lot of times we lose that as time goes on. Sometimes people are saying, well, you're taught to lose that kind of thing.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, it doesn't, it's not real kind of thing, which we went through as children with our parents when we all started to talk about such things. And, it was really frightening and frustrating when your parents are denying
yeah,
um, something that you and your siblings all
You're right.
are seeing. It's not like if it was just one of us, but when all of us know something, then you're like, okay, what's
You know,
going on? Why won't mom and dad listen to us? And it can be frightening.
what an interesting fact that you brought up, though. So you brought up the fact of a child. So the parents are now protecting you, right?
Yeah.
So what if you ask them, did they ever experience? I mean, like, are they now just protecting you from something that they already know?
Yeah, well, that's
Or
the
what was
interesting
happening?
question. First of all, my father's mother was the clairvoyant,
Sure.
and yeah, we could get into talking about her a little
Just
bit.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Let's
so Grandma Mildred Anderson, she was well known in the Western New York area when I was a kid. And I used to go to radio and television shows. And so with my siblings and other cousins and that, at times we didn't all go at the same time. But if we were privileged enough to be hanging out with grandma and go to one of these shows, sometimes she would even go to Canada as a guest. So she was truly a gifted woman. She was extremely religious and was Catholic, which was really interesting because, a couple hundred years ago, they would have burned her at the stake for being a witch, probably, and I'm not trying to bash anybody's religion. I'm just saying the fact is,
yeah.
it was it still is, for having those abilities, there's a conflict there.
I
But
actually make a bookmark here because I want to talk to you about religion later when it comes to
yeah,
paranormal investigating. I want to throw a
yes.
comment here too. Barry is on my team, Blood Moon Paranormal in Orlando. Very proud to have him.
Hi,
Absolutely.
Connie. Hello.
Good.
Yay. Thanks for listening. Thanks
Connie,
for
with him
listening.
being a part of BB3 now and a part of your team, there's
I mean,
endless things that you guys can all do on this network
there's
now. So
there's some really new things happening here that just, I mean, they're not coincidental. Things that are meant to be happen for me. And
always happen.
I don't know, how everybody else's lives go, but it's interesting how the timing of certain things just come my way.
Mhm.
And here I am, talking about something that's been of interest to me my entire life. I whether I like it or not. I mean, of course, I spent a lot of time studying these subjects through the years. I am not an expert. There's people on uh, BB3 TV that know much more about the science of the paranormal study or whatever. But I'm just giving you. Oh, hello there, sir.
We have a special guest with this is Tom's World today.
I got
Well,
back early. I couldn't get to my
I
mom.
got a special surprise here. How
Yeah.
are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good, good.
Still in pain, but I'm good.
We're getting right into it as far as the paranormal here. So yeah.
Well, just to
Yeah.
let you know, two things. One, I couldn't get to my mom because of that backup I told you about that I was in.
Yeah.
I was in it for a half hour. I had to turn around and come back.
Okay.
Also, you were wrong. It's going to your personal page. It's not going to Real Talk with Dom.
Well, whatever it may be. Whatever it may be. All right. Onward with the show. This is Tom's World right here. So this is Tom's World. So we're in here talking about the paranormal right now. So,
Glad to have another chance to chat with you guys. And
yeah,
we're getting a little deeper today about things, but yeah, started talking about my grandmother Mildred Anderson, the clairvoyant from Western New York, and some called her the prophet of New York, prophet of Western New York, and so forth. She truly was a gifted lady, and we just grew up having it's grandma. My other grandmother Barbara worked in the funeral industry for most of my for many years, a good portion of my life. And so, the discussion of death and things like that were kind of common in our family, but Mildred, she was the real thing. She did not have a neon sign in her window or anything like that. She lived a very humble life, but she had an incredible ability to meet somebody, tell them about past events, tell them about current events in their life, and then predict future events. And many, many times people would come forward and go, oh my gosh, she was correct. She also had a syndicated news column well, I don't know if it's a local news column, but it was in several papers in Western New York area when I was a kid, and people would write in asking questions like, I lost my wedding ring. And, she'd be like, oh, honey, it's behind the cat, go back there behind this and that. And they go, oh my God, I found it, but sometimes it's silly things. And other times it was bigger, heavier subject matters that people would be trying to find answers to. And, but she, was an amazing lady. And there were a lot of interesting things, that would happen around her. Sometimes she would warn us of dangers.
Yeah.
And, so the family's filled with lots of interesting stories about her.
So, do you believe that she is the beginning of the bloodline of the clairvoyance?
Now, I think it ran into her through her family. I believe I was told that her aunts, or maybe her grandmother, used to do tea leaves for the Roosevelts. The President Roosevelt's.
No kidding.
She, I think it ran in the family line, but I don't know, what happens from such a young age.
Now you see that Connie even says I've seen spirits since age 3. Now she's more than I don't know Connie or nothing, but what
No, she's a new follower
she's
to
got
BB3.
she's
Yeah,
gifted.
this is everything.
She's gifted for sure.
That's exactly my point. She's got to
Yeah.
be an empath,
Oh, yeah.
somewhere around those lines. I mean, just like you, Barry. I mean, with your grandmother and your family bloodline. I mean, so you probably don't call yourself a psychic yet. I have it kind of in me too as well. And I don't call myself a psychic, but you kind of know things beforehand, empath, all that. But you know how it kind of works.
Well, I'm starting to I decided now, I've been busy with a career, working, being a dad, being a husband, just dealing with life's shit, the good things and the bad things, but so busy just living my life and then these weird things would happen, and I just dealt with them the best that I could, but trying to understand. And I didn't get fully involved in trying to explore or investigate things. Now I've delved into it a little bit, but
let me ask you this:
all these things have come my way without me looking for them.
Sure. And I'm going to ask you a question because we're going to talk about these are going to become random. We're going to talk about tools. How do you feel about psychics? Honestly,
How psychics?
Yes.
Well, I think there's a lot of people that are bullshitters.
That's exactly my point. That's why I say I'm not a psychic.
Yeah. But the sad part is there are people who are legitimately really gifted, and yet they are in a sea of people who are shysters that, they just, if you know a little bit about the human behaviors and you can just study people, you can easily go, oh, you're having problems with, and then fish for information. Right?
I think we know a little bit about shysters too, so it's kind of one of those things. I mean, we've dealt with some good psychics too. You know what I mean? But at the same time, this is why I do not really run to a psychic with my paranormal investigations. Yes, it's cool. I feel, and please, this is my biased opinion. I feel like that's a paid industry right there to be a psychic, to kind of tell you what you want to know. You're kind of agreeing until I find a psychic that really blows my mind. I don't really want one on my investigations. I've done it before. I've honestly done it. This is the trials and errors of becoming a paranormal investigator. Trust me. Even with groups, I mean, I'm not sure how your group works and Connie works. I've learned to kind of stay by myself, and only grab the people who kind of want to find the same thing, and that's a ghost and just not a damn party.
Yeah. So I'm the newbie in this in that group, but I'm wanting to learn. And so one of the things that I want to make sure of is that I learn how to protect myself, because, I believe that there are dark energies, dark entities that can and want to harm people.
Sure.
And I do believe that there are good energies. If you want, you could call it demons and angels or whatever, however you want
I
to.
believe in it all. I believe in it all. I mean, I believe in, like, Tom, you kind of roll your head there, but like demons, I get what it, like, so many shows. So just take the shows in general, not Zach Bagans, goddamn right, not Zach Bagans. Yeah, that's the point.
You had to go and say his name.
Well, that's the point. Everybody always is saying, "Oh my God, it's demonic. Oh my God, it's this. Oh my God, it's that." You got to do your research a little bit. I mean, yes, there's dark figures. There could be a really good spirit that's a dark figure that don't want you there either. There is something more.
Sure.
That's why I wanted to get into religion with you too. Is it God? Is it this? I'm not sure. This is some things that maybe I'm a paranormal investigator because maybe I'm scared where I'm going. And I kind of want to know.
These are the big questions. These are the profound big questions that,
absolutely.
Even as a small child, my grandmother would say, you worry about way too many things for a little kid. Why are you always pondering all these heavy thoughts, And I got to be honest with you, and it sounds kind of crazy, but I feel like at a very young age, that when I was having this visitations, that I was being taught and shown certain things about, caring for the environment and caring for animals. I think, that may have affected who I am. And maybe that's the reason that I ended up becoming a creative person. I don't know. But
I agree with that.
I don't know. I'd like to possibly, I've thought about getting hypnotized and going back to
shit. I'm afraid to get hypnotized with shit I know in the world.
That's why I haven't. I have not done that as of yet.
I want to throw something to Connie. She says, I've seen a demon and it was ugly and huge. I've actually maybe have saw one, but I know I've possibly caught one on recording one day. I've never actually posted it on here because the point is we have friends like Candy Biddle and shit like that. And I know what I saw in that house. And I also know what was on that recording. I know there's something really fucked up on that recording. So I would love for you to hear it. Anybody could debunk and say, oh, that was somebody else in the house. I'm the one that knows it. So instead of going through that little drama of hearing everyone else's bullshit of what I know, I kind of don't post it. So I would love to share some of that footage with you and some of those, just some of that evidence with you, and we could share. Maybe this is the point, because I always said when groups get together as far as paranormal, I always say that like it becomes like a high school game. Tom said it too, like, and everybody really wants the same point of view, and that's to find a ghost.
Yeah.
If you're not finding a ghost, what's the point of our job? Or find an answer.
This is my thought on it. What I would like, because I suffered as a kid, and I know other families that suffer from having to live in a place that's not healthy, good environment because there are ghosts or entities, or some people are terrified, even if something isn't harmful or a demon of some kind, it still could create tremendous fear. So I would like to be able to help people, is what I would like to try to be doing. I'm trying to help some people right now. I'm not going to get into it too much tonight, but it's just too current and too personal with some people. But I want to help people, and if I can do that, then so going into somebody's home and then shaking all the shit up and screaming at things and then walking out and leaving, trying to just get something on a video for YouTube or whatever, and then leaving the poor family there without any help.
That's absolutely bullshit. I hate when people say that. I hate that shit. So I see things online where do you charge to go someone? Absolutely not. You should go into a house and with respect for that person and analyzing first. Don't assume there's a ghost. Find out their mental thought process.
Sure. You have to be analytical. You have to be scientific. You have to look for. Because let's face it. There are people who want attention. Some people have mental illness. Some people have.
There's a BB3 right there.
Watching too many scary movies, whatever it is. There are things that sometimes you can easily debunk. And then other times you may be surprised and find out that you got in a little deeper than you thought with something. And you go, oh my gosh, there is something here. And I don't know, what to do about it.
Yeah. And it could be like a mental thing. Maybe, you never know. I mean, it could be something, so simple. And it also could be haunted. You never know. Like you had brought up, like, almost not mental illness, but something around it where it's like depression, anxiety. It's so high in the world. Like the energy, the vibrations are so high. what if this is a supernatural force that is
Well,
causing these things?
oh,
You know what I
I
mean? Like,
believe that a lot of people who are being treated for mental
yeah,
illnesses and stuff, very well could be under an influence of some kind.
absolutely.
And look at, who knows, the internet. I mean, how did these things spread their tentacles, spread their spirit? You just don't know. But I
See, she
think, yeah, there we go.
right on point.
Uh,
Another
yeah, if
thing,
you're
sleep
doing
paralysis,
dark
Barry.
things, if you're playing with the Ouija board and taking drugs, you
Yeah,
might
yeah.
bring something into your house. I mean,
So
let's face it.
take something else, sleep paralysis, right? Something I've studied often. I do think that there is something more to sleep paralysis
Oh yeah,
than the human body not getting enough sleep. I believe there is some kind of force that's hitting you.
yes,
I seen the dark figure. I get it all the time. I actually try to put myself in sleep paralysis now. Um, not
not me.
only to get the lucid dreaming,
Yeah,
but the dream journey as well. Also to kind of understand what's happening. There's exercise, do meditations that you put yourself through a process. These things, the shadow figures, yep, and sleep paralysis. Darren, this is 100% fact that everybody sees the same thing in sleep paralysis. There's
it
got to
can
be
be a
some
very,
kind of
very
plane.
terrifying experience going through
Absolutely.
that. And yes, the scientific community would say it's all, just your brain in a certain state. But if that is the case, how do they know that that doesn't leave you open? I mean, you are open to the other side in your dreams. I have had many
Yeah.
dreams where family members and friends who have passed on come and say hello to me.
Many
Uh,
nights.
and
Many nights myself, brother.
It can be a very pleasant experience. I wake up with a big smile on my face. Not
Yeah.
everything is terrifying. I go, wow, I just saw my aunt, and she looked young. She looked great. She gave me a hug, said she just wanted to see me. And then that's usually it, kind of a thing. And it feels great. And then sometimes I feel like I need to pass that message to other family members and go, hey, guess who came to visit? And they wanted me to say hello to you,
Yeah.
everybody,
I get dream visits all the time, but
Yeah.
the dreams never make any sense whatsoever. But when I wake up, I feel like they were actually there. And to backtrack a little, because I got a little sidetracked. My dad came in; he didn't know I was on a live feed.
Oh,
I
Um,
agree with that.
to backtrack to the whole demons thing and why I was rolling my eyes, it's my belief that, like, we don't know if it's religion, if there's a God, if there's God behind all this. We do know that through some evidence that we've come across through the years of people doing research and everything, that there is something going on, that there might be a life after this, and we won't have absolute proof of that until it's too late. But as far as angels, demons go, I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's such a thing as demons. I think they're all energies that have passed on, and just like in this life, you have assholes and you have cool people. In the next step, it would just stand to reason that people would still be assholes, and they could make themselves appear or seem any way they want to in somebody else's mind's eye. You know what I mean? Like, they have that ability because they're not of the physical realm anymore. They're like the metaphysical or whatever. And they have different energy waves, I guess, and they could possibly manipulate how they're perceived. Which is why sometimes when you see somebody who you see their spirit, they're of their younger self instead of what they looked like when they passed, because they show what they want to perceive or what they want perceived.
Patricia brings up a good point there. What is interesting, if you have a negative experience, it is sleep paralysis. If good, it is a dream. What's the difference? What's the balance there? I mean, she makes a good point.
Well,
Like,
sleep paralysis, you awake.
You can't move.
You're awake, yeah, and you can't
Right.
move. It's like something is sitting on your chest. I've had that once or twice in my life when I was younger.
Yeah.
But,
I get it weekly, Tom, but like I just said a minute ago, I'm putting myself there to understand.
I'm not. I used to.
And I'm not going to, we won't get into this right now, but also, if you've been abducted by aliens, they've put you in a state where you cannot move, and they levitate you up and take you wherever they want. And so
we have a big alien talk at the end of this.
A paralysis? How much
Uh-oh.
sleep paralysis within itself,
go.
for sure, that make you wonder. But there's nothing pleasant about being unable to move and feel like your conscious brain is awake and seeing something, and you cannot do anything about it. So
Yeah. Darren says 2% of all things in the paranormal can be demonic. Okay.
Demonic is different than a demon.
Yeah. So
That's an act instead of a being.
I do believe that there is good and evil in everything. I think we're gonna kind of
there's
rely
no doubt.
we're relying on almost what Tom said. Like if you're an asshole on this earth, I mean, you're gonna be an asshole on another plane too. I mean, there's a good and evil in everything, right? But I do believe that there is that supernatural other shit too between these gods and monsters, as they would say, and the different gods of how you speak. And I want to get into religion with you later, and that's where the paranormal for me. Matter of fact, we keep saying we're going to get into it later. Let's just get into it now.
Oh boy, as long as we don't talk politics.
No.
We're
going in
already
deep,
dangerous enough.
What I want to know, because I've talked to, and Patricia McDowell's one of them, near-death experiences and stuff like that. Does this bring you closer to God or away from a God experience and wonder?
You know, there's so many big questions about all of this. It's so if you have a near-death experience, which I may have had at a very, very young age before I can remember. I think I was pulled out of the lake and almost drowned.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
could that have affected why I was having such visions at such a young age? Maybe.
Absolutely, because most of the near-death experience, most have an open realm, a third eye, a paranormal like plane now. When you almost die or at death, you're now open to that. I mean, I absolutely 100% think that's where you probably get a lot of your empath from.
Possibly.
I didn't know you had a near-death experience.
Now, I had an incredible experience when I was a young man. I think it was 1981. Now, I wouldn't say this is a religious experience, except for it opened up my mind to realizing, oh my gosh, our bodies and our souls are separate things. And so what happened was I was going to art school in Pittsburgh in 1981. And I went to class, and I was in class, and I was feeling really
I just popped up on the other screen. Sorry.
really.
That was Darren.
Oh,
Or
no,
that's
it's Dustin.
That was Dustin. Yeah.
Sorry.
And I decided to leave class early, and I had to take a bus all the way home that day. My roommates were students, and they were in class still. So I got home, and the house was empty, and my bedroom was up in the attic, and I went up up all the way up to the third floor, which was the attic, and I laid down to take a nap. And after I fell asleep, I heard my dad's voice calling me, and it sounded echoey, like he was down at the bottom of the stairs calling me. And he's like, Barry, Barry, I was like, and I was fighting, trying to wake myself up because like, oh my gosh, my dad's here. I got to answer him. I need to answer him. And the next thing I know, I could hear my dad talking to me, and I opened my eyes up, and my face was right up against the ceiling of my bedroom. And I was confused. I was like, what? I didn't know what I was looking at. I never saw my ceiling in my face before. I mean, and I could hear my dad talking to me, and he was, it was a telepathic communication was going on between us. Although at the time I was like, what is happening? And as this was going on, he was talking to me about things that were going on in my life at that time. I was having a rough time. I mean, I was a young teenager that moved into the big city from a small town. And, my gosh, I had a lot of lessons in life to learn at that point. But he was saying things that he wouldn't have known about, Sure. And then I kind of looked around, and I saw my body laying in the bed below me. And I got frightened, and I zapped right back into my body. And within, I don't know, a short period of time, I heard the phone ringing down 2 floors down. And I woke up and I was like, it's my dad. And I ran down the stairs and I picked up the phone, and it was my dad. And he was sound all groggy, and he was talking to me, but he was saying the same things that he was talking to me in the room or in my head. It sounded like an echoey room.
Yeah.
But I said, well, Dad, what's going on? We just talked to each other. Why do you sound funny? And he said, I just had surgery, and my anesthesia is just wearing off. And he demanded getting a phone to call me while I didn't even know he's having an operation. That was the thing.
Yeah.
We weren't like nowadays where everybody's talking and communicating all that. Yeah, you talk to your dad every few months or every month if you needed a couple bucks or something, but he was busy living his life and I was living mine. And so I didn't know he was having an operation. So while he's having this operation, for whatever reason, I fell ill. I went home, and then he decided he needed to communicate with me. So I was just kind of blown away by this whole thing, and my dad, he spoke to me a little bit on the phone, and then we hung up. Of course, when my roommates came home later, I was like, oh my God, I astral projected and had telepathic communication with my dad, who was on a surgery table. They were just like, well, yeah, what are you smoking, dude? Hey, and nobody would take me, and I was blown away. I mean, it made me realize that, your conscious mind, it can be separated from your body, and that, this communication, we were, I don't know, I was in Pittsburgh and he was in New York State, and we were communicating very clearly about some things. And, when I asked him later what he saw, he said he saw his entire life pass before him, and he saw every one of his children, what was going on in their lives, and he saw that I had made some bad decisions, and he was worried about it. And he was right. I let some stranger move into our house because we had a roommate that moved out, and I met some guy at a party who was older than me. And I'm looking for a place. I'm like, oh, what? And he's like, oh yeah, I can pay. But when I let this, I didn't, well, stupid kid, but
yeah.
Well, he seemed like he was a cool guy, well, I realized I made a mistake afterwards, but we were afraid of this person. So I was trying to figure out how to get rid of him without getting my dad involved,
Sure.
Anyway, it was amazing, but it made me think, okay, there is something to, because my father was also Catholic from my grandmother, and I shunned that. I did not want to, he was not, when I was growing up as a kid, my father had fallen away from that, and he got back into it later when I was a teenager. But at that point I said, well, I made my own decisions to, kind of thing. You can't
Absolutely.
force your religion on me, kind of thing. But I realized there was something to it.
Barry, I want to take a second, and I want to thank everybody in the comment section, everybody who's watching in. I mean, this is amazing.
I'm trying to read while I'm talking.
Yeah, no, it's good. And this is the point of a really good show. I mean, when there's questions, there's answers, everybody's interacting. This is the point of BB3 TV. This is not my show. This is your show. Everybody is hanging out, working together, and having a good time. I want to personally say thank you guys. Much love for this. This means a lot as far as Real Talk with Dom coming back and being part of the BB3 network. Thank you for interacting. This is the point. You guys are having a good time, and you guys are making me feel good about this.
This is so great to see these comments coming in. It really is.
Yep.
So
we're not alone here, people.
I love it.
That's why talking about this is so important, because
Indeed.
Sometimes it can be very isolating when people are experiencing unusual phenomenon and they don't know where to go to. You get your balls busted. You talk to somebody. Yep. I had a coworker who tried to make me look like I was crazy to my boss. I mean, because I opened up to him and talked to him about something, and it's not cool. I was like, wow, I thought we were back there shooting the shit, and I just felt, comfortable to mention something, and next thing I know, this guy's trying to get my job, and he's trying to make me look like a nut job, you know. And it's like,
Indeed.
whatever.
I'm gonna say this real quick too, because I'm gonna put this comment up. Connie, you're next. Get a hold of me.
Dun, dun,
For sure,
dun.
for sure. I'll tell you what, I got to sit in and watch some of Connie's abilities the other day, and how she handled working with some potential clients. And you know, I was there for the ride. It was nice to get that invitation.
Yeah.
And you know, but she asked me my opinions and what my thoughts were afterwards, and we had a good talk about the situation. And yeah, I have a lot to learn, and you know, I have some things to share as well. So
I think it's very healthy that you come in with a very positive attitude. You come in with the right mind. You know, as an empath, you come in with stories. You come in with not just stories but experiences, and you're trying to learn. So I would say it's nice getting in touch with a group of investigators, but you already have like a little bit of a background too. So it kind of works for the investigators and yourself as far as groups. I mean, I think you're on the right path to really loving what you do. I mean, you have a true passion for this, you know?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it wasn't going to go away. It just keeps going. So I might
Yeah.
as well embrace it. You know,
I would. I mean, that's, you know, it's kind of how, like, just say Patricia McDowell and I had a show. I mean, when I first met her, we kind of just hit it off like that, you know, empath styles, and we had an amazing show together, just like you and I. I mean, it's kind of one of these things,
That was
brother.
a while back now.
It was a while. I think it was. I might have been still on the other network. I don't even know if it was.
I don't think
Not
so.
sure.
I don't think so.
The paranormal field. Let's see. The paranormal field is a never-ending learning machine. Absolutely. And you got to find the groups that, like, the learning machine is really what should happen. And that's what's really good. Instead of the groups getting together and not finding nothing, and, you know, not being cool with each other, you just find the one thing you want. It's a ghost, you know? So I agree with you, Darren.
And also for you, Barry, this whole experience, what we're doing here with you, once you start doing that, that's a never-ending learning machine.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, it's an exciting time in my life now. I mean, I've had an amazing career, and you had a great job and everything, but you know, you get to the point where I'm like, I still have things that I want to do. I still have things I want to explore in life. I want to find out the mysteries of life, and
Sure.
you know, what goes on after life. You know, when I have family members come and say hello to me in a dream, you know, I go, well, geez, there is. Our energy continues on. Now, you know, whether I'm looking for the answers still, you know, but I'm trying to live a decent life, you know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, you know, just not be a complete asshole on this planet, you know. And
So BB3.
and
Cindy.
if I can help people, I would really enjoy helping.
Sorry.
That's our
It was an
psychic.
incoming
That's
call.
one of our friends right there.
That's
We got to
our
say it.
Cindy.
Tom, 1, 2, 3. Cindy!
Yay!
But there you go.
Look at
That's one
that,
of
Cindy.
our-
You got a triple.
That's our family right there. So I got to ask you, Barry, what was that one experience that you said, you know, oh fuck, you know, like what's that one paranormal experience? I mean, I know you just had one with,
Yeah.
you know, where I'm not going to give your story away, but what's that one?
Well, I tell you what, when I just went home to my hometown, and I'm going to say Western New York, because there's still a hot subject going on here. But my childhood home was haunted. And so my siblings and I, we, you know, we grew up in this house with a lot of crazy things. So we don't always talk about this, but since I was home, I thought I would interview each one of my siblings individually. And brother Shane, if you're there, he might be tattooing somebody right now. He's the award-winning tattoo artist, Shane
Give a
Anderson.
shout out to him real quick. Where's he from? What's he do? And give a shout out.
Okay, Wild Side. No, wait. Oh gosh, darn it. Oh gosh, darn it. I'm gonna.
Tom's gonna be on it. Watch this. Watch what he does. I saw his face. I know him.
Shane, come back on here. Well, listen. Well, he is a talented guy. But we all sat down and talked about some of the childhood things that we went through. And my brother is there. You go. Thank you. Animated Canvas. God, I drew a
There
blank.
you go.
He's in
All
South
right, so let's look
Carolina.
up there.
So
This is the gentleman you're talking about?
animated. That's his wife, Kelly. Hi, Kelly.
Kelly,
Thank
what's
you.
up? All right. So
I had a
everybody
brain
check out
fart for a second.
Animated Canvas, the
Yeah.
tattoo artist, right?
Yes, he's an incredible award-winning tattoo artist. Fantastic.
Kelly, if you do us a favor, Barry
From
is
where?
part of BB3 TV. Send him some links, and we'll post you guys. We'll advertise you guys on us, man. You guys are family to us now.
Yeah.
All right, I got your back.
Yeah, when we were up in New York, we went to a place called Wildside Tattoo in my hometown, and so that's where I was getting. There you are, hey brother.
There he is.
Feel free to join in on the conversation if you like. I'm starting to talk about our home, our childhood home right now. We're not going to say the address. We're not going to tell the.
Is it in Rochester?
Address. Oh, no, that was it's a different place.
Okay.
Good guess though. I don't know how much they want to talk about the.
All good. It will come in time. We'll come in time.
So one of the things that my siblings and I, we all talked about, and it was a time when all of us at the same time, including our father, saw an apparition, an entity, whatever this thing was, enter into the room during the daytime while we were all in the living room watching television. And we all had the same memory for the most part. I mean, this has been many years ago. When I was a kid, but every single one of us remembers this almost identical. And basically, we were probably watching the Brady Bunch. I don't know what we were doing. We're watching something this is the early 70s. We were all in the living room, and I was the closest one to where this thing came from. The left side of the room, came around the corner, and it floated right in front of my face. And it was about the size of I don't know, a little, maybe a tether ball or a soccer ball, possibly.
Yeah.
It was hard to tell, but it looked like a cloudy looking thing, but it was round, and it had electrical stuff going on in it. And from what I remember, and my father said the same thing, which really was freaky. It sounds so bizarre. For me to say this out loud, but my siblings, they all go, oh yeah, it was a cloudy thing, some kind of looked like a rounded, stormy cloud almost, come right next to. I believe I saw eyes in this thing, which is really crazy. And it was right at my eye level, basically, or maybe a little bit more higher, because I was sitting in a chair, and it just slowly coming right into the room. And then my father, who always denied us, and he was a big, tough guy, never afraid of anything that I was ever aware of. All of a sudden, he jumped up, and I jumped up, and the thing sped up, and it flew in and around a door into my parents' bedroom off of the living room. And we ran after it, and it went into the closet. And my brother Shane, followed in there as well. And he was talking with me about this, what he remembered. And he remembered very good details because he was quite young. He's younger than I am. But we saw some clothing moving in there, and then a paper bag was sitting on the floor, and then the paper bag started moving. My dad grabs the bag, and then he opens it up, and there was nothing there. And my dad, the look on his face. Now, I dropped the big F-bomb on him, and I saw you had all those warning signs.
What's the big word? What's it called?
Oh, I just looked at him. Now, I'm a 10-year-old kid.
There you go.
I would have gotten my ass beaten if I would have did this. Well, I used to, in our neighborhood, it was a little rough and tumble neighborhood near a tool factory. So I learned to curse in 10 different languages around there. Well, at least in Swedish, Italian, and maybe a few others, English. So I looked at him, and I'm like, he looked like he was in shock. And I said, what was it? And he goes, a bird. And I'm like, that was no fucking bird,
Yeah.
Birds have wings,
Big word,
like,
F dash.
It's a ghost. Why won't you just admit it? It's a ghost,
And that's the thing. Why won't they? And Patricia brings it up. it is at least for me, a relief when others see what you do, either the same time or later. I mean, it really truly is. That means you're not fucking crazy.
That's
You
that's
understand what it is. Did I
That's
just say the big F word?
Yeah,
I
F
did.
dash
I did
dash
too. I'm
dash.
So I
sorry
said it
if
for
it
you.
offended anybody. I apologize.
No,
But
it's a parental
I,
advisory. Everybody know
you
it's
told
rated
me
R.
I
Only I
could do
didn't say
it.
fudge.
Yeah.
It's for
Yeah.
drama because that is a key line right there. My father, we never spoke about it after that
Yeah,
for
yeah.
years.
Well, that's the thing. Let's go back to the point what we said in the beginning. The protection, the hiding,
Yeah.
your father didn't want to talk about it, but he saw the same thing. So now the spiderweb effect of the beginning of the show is now hitting. So he
Yeah.
saw the same thing. Is this
Yeah.
something they were taught, like, maybe with my parents, your parents, like beforehand, like this shit's not real, it's in your imagination? Like, is it just embedded in them and they have to do something? Tom, let me ask you a question. Does your dad believe in spirits?
More so now than he used to. My dad
kidding.
has become more open-minded the older he gets. He
Darren,
swears that all his brothers are gone, and he
plug your
swears
show
that
real quick. Plug your show real quick, Darren. Sorry, Tom. Plug your
That's
show.
all
He's
right.
got to leave. Darren's a BB3. Repeat that, Tom, please.
My dad used to be like a hard-nosed, didn't believe any of that stuff. Even when me and my mom, we would watch like the different paranormal shows that used to come on long before, like Ghost Hunters and all that stuff, he'd just roll his eyes. But the older he gets, like all his brothers are gone. He's pretty much the last one of the elders. He's the elder of his family at this point. His side of the family, I should say. It's my family too. But he now firmly believes that his brothers come to see him and visit and all this other stuff, which is a far cry from what he used to be. So I guess the closer we get, and this is a very morbid statement to speak of my father, but I guess the closer we get to the end, the more prone we are to believe it, even in that generation.
Yeah. And say when you're a child, you're open, and maybe as you get older, that happens to you again, possibly because that veil gets thinner there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's always better when others can collaborate what you experience. However, they may not experience or see what the same as you. But
How did you decipher that to be? However, I would not have done that.
because I could just look at words and know what they mean. Like, and I'm just
Like
kind of
I
like,
read fluent typo.
if you see this shit where they put it on Facebook where you could like see shit backwards and shit, I could read everything. But I knew what she meant, and she's exactly right. It's one of these things, but you still have the same experience, and you are now legitimizing. Is that a word? Legitimize. You are legitimizing
It helps.
your experience.
She
It
said
helps
"ho
when
even."
more than one person says they've seen
There he
something.
is. Jason Darden, what's happening, my friend? What's up, baby? Three?
What's up, man?
On the show. Yeah, check it out. Sean Babbitt's here. People do what they because of it, acknowledge to give it the power. Yeah, for sure. And she says, "What is it? Laugh out loud or lots of
Laughing
I'm
out
not really
loud
sure.
because she said
Whatever it
"ho
means."
even."
Yep,
HOEVEN. Ho even.
indeed.
So I don't know. Can I talk and tell another thing?
You can absolutely. This is your show tonight.
Well, as so that childhood home, I will tell you that I decided to do a historic search on the house in recent times, and I've located 3 other families who have all had paranormal experiences, and so there was more, and they started. I mean, they were when I contacted them, it was out of nowhere. I did some real diving into the entire history of the house from 1906 all the way till now. A lot of people have moved in and out of there through the years, and a lot of people have died in there. And so when the other families heard from me, they were, relieved in a lot of ways because they were isolated, And then there was that for them, they're like, wow, you've just made it so that we realize it's not just us, And I said, well, validation is very helpful. So, and then, I opened up a Pandora's box of stuff with this and trying to help some people. But, this place had a darkness from when we lived there. I believe that sometimes years and years of history in a house can leave shadow on the place. And, it's, these are working people who struggled through the years that lived in these houses and in my neighborhood. And there was a lot of probably arguing and fighting. And certainly in our family, there was a lot of that going on, and it was stressful. Times gets painful sometimes as you go back and think about it. But we would sleep in the middle of the night and hear our door would just slam in the middle of the night. My brother and I, our closets were dark and long corridors from my bedroom to my sister's room. There's this long, narrow, small closet with a window in the middle. And we would hear our toys being played with at night. We would get new toys for Christmas. And we believed there was a boy ghost in this house. And we would hear levers to the games being pulled and played with in muffled voices in the closet. And my brother and I, who had laying in our bunk beds, Shane, if you're there, chime in, please. Don't make me sit here like this.
By the way, I have the group for the tattoo shop on the Facebook group. If you want me to post it in here.
Animated canvas, man. Yeah. I'm sorry.
But wait a minute. Do you want us to post it yet? We got your back.
Look them up, man. Look Shane Anderson.
All right, we're just gonna post it right now. We got his back.
We're talking. He is a master at what he does.
Yeah, give a shout out right quick to Shane Anderson right now. So throw it right on the screen,
brother.
Bam, bam, bam.
I'll tell you what.
There it is.
He's amazing. What he does.
Can you actually put it on the screen?
He's a hell of a fisherman
like
too, man. He's a hell of a fisherman.
Yeah.
Huh?
All right. So Shane, hold up real quick. We're actually going to show the advertisement that you have, and we're going to.
Well, it's a Facebook group.
Yeah, whatever it may be. Yeah. We just got your back.
That's awesome.
Family to us now. There it is. Check it out,
my
guys.
Bro. All right, there that is.
Animated canvas tattoo. Check it out. Like, share, follow, subscribe, whatever they need. Yeah, just keep it going.
Anyway, yes.
Yeah.
He's very, very talented. So
he and I we have a psychic Cindy saying, I keep feeling an older male energy within the house. Do you have something to say to that?
You got that right. And I'll tell you.
Shane Anderson Tattoos, Google me. Let's get him right there.
That's different. I can get that too.
Yeah.
Yep, get that there, and we'll actually put that up there for you, Shane, for sure. We got your back there too.
Hey, brother, I'm talking about where. So if you want to chime in about our childhood, hearing the voices and the ghosts in their closet, please acknowledge. Anyways,
the animated thing, like the world's gonna see this, so like all the advertisement we get for them, keep going. Mary said you and Shane are both amazing artists. Absolutely, we've seen it last night on the first show. Barry, you are getting a great audience tonight. These people are very supportive of you. It's absolutely incredible. I love a show like this.
So the psychic who thought that she saw an older man.
Right there, I keep seeing. I keep feeling an older male energy within this house.
Yeah. So this thing knows that I'm investigating the house. I think it has a way of holding on to. I think it's grown into something much more negative through the years. It was scary when we were kids, the basement especially. But I think through the years, more and more people have moved in and out of that place. Lots of sleepless nights. Yeah, you got that right. My brother's a badass. I got to tell you, even as a little kid, he was a badass.
You're talking about the haunted house. I was talking about the tattoo shop. Sorry about that, Shane.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, no, he's a badass at tattooing as well. Yeah. But I remember going, "Oh, Shane, open the door." After the door would slam, I'd be like, "You open the door." We'd like creeping up, thinking, "Is Dad awake and he's mad or something?" Yeah. And no, everybody's just sound asleep. But at night, we would hear creeping, almost a regular basis, creeping going up the stairs, and then this thing would come into your room. And my sister described it as a silent scream, and that's exactly accurate. I remember laying there, and this thing, it would walk up and stand there watching you, and you'd be too afraid to just open your eyes because you don't want to see it. And it's there, and you're laying there, literally in a silent scream, and there's nothing. I mean, for a child, and then to have your parents not acknowledge this is going on, it really was tough. So my sister Sheila, sorry Sheila, I just outed you out. Whoops. Okay, well I should have asked her, but anyway, she went and told her teacher that we lived in a haunted house and the ghost was keeping us up at night. Of course, the teacher calls the school psychologist and then our parents, and our parents are all pissed. She got in a lot of trouble. And, so she was trying to reach out for help. And, we never told any of our friends in the neighborhood. At least I certainly didn't. I don't think any of us, because you don't want to be the weirdo kid. I mean, I was the weirdo kid, but, you're not trying to be. You just want to fit in and don't want to scare your friends off or don't want people to make fun of you or anything. So we did not discuss openly, except for us siblings communicated to each other because that's all we had at the time.
Yeah.
But the house is still now, after getting the stories that I have, it continues on. I'm investigating the situation still. But yeah, it's still, there's still something going on there.
I've
I
had
have a
that
crazy
too.
question. Sorry, Tom, go ahead.
I've had that too, where like you were saying, even as a kid, like you didn't want to open your eyes because you knew you were going to see it. Even as an adult, I've had that where like I feel like if I open my eyes, there's going to be a face right here and it's going to scare the living shit out of me, literally.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Barry, you're a tremendous artist.
Thank you.
Within your drawings, do you draw what you see of what you saw in paranormal? Is this something that like does this touch on the base of it?
It's kind of an interesting thing. I can draw from my imagination and always have. And most little kids do draw from their imagination, but some people need to look at something or a photograph to draw something.
Right.
But I always drew from my imagination, I guess, if you will. And, sometimes people go, wow, you draw some weird, dark things. Why do you draw such strange art, And I really couldn't tell you, I'm trying to mix it up, but I know that I always liked scary monster movies and things.
Sure.
So, there was some of that intrigue as a kid. So drawing a picture of a monster or something. Now, there have been times when I've wondered if sometimes they call something automatic writing.
Absolutely.
Where if you're sitting there in a certain state, there are times when I just start scribbling something and then I get inspired by an idea, without having a plan of anything. I just start to scribble on some paper and then I get inspired by something or I'll see something within that will make me turn something into a piece of art. So then you go, well, is that, I don't know. It may be it may be like practicing yoga. It may be just releasing your inner mind a little bit.
May I spiderweb that effect there? The automatic writing. What if also within the dreams too? I write scripts for movies and shit like that. Often within my dreams, I have the perfect script that I write. I mean, it's the movie's already written right there. I mean, is that another type of automatic writing in its own?
Maybe, or it's a subconscious working out problems that you have going on in your head. So sometimes I will wake up with an answer to a problem.
Up, actually, when you think about it, because these movies are fucked up.
My wife had a terrible nightmare this past week, which is very rare for her. And she and I, our first home that we purchased was haunted. And this is a really interesting story, so you might want to hear it. But it was about that house, and but it was her description is so horrifying that I say, my gosh, that should be in a movie, But same token, I worry about protecting my family. I'm like, let's. But we can talk about that home that we bought. It's like.
I want you to talk about it. I also want you to get into right as you're done with the home that you bought. I want you to get right into what happened at the graveyard with the teacher.
Yeah. Okay.
Hit it.
So the first house that my wife and I purchased here in Central Florida, we were, we lived in apartments our whole, for years, and we wanted to buy a home. This is many years back now. And the bank at the time was like, well, okay, you want to buy a home? Well, here's how much we'll, it was not a lot of money,
Yeah.
That was before the banks just let anybody buy whatever, even whether they could afford it or not. So we were limited as to what we could buy, but we knew what neighborhoods we liked. We wanted an old neighborhood. And so anyways, after going through a long time trying to search for a house, and we found this house. It's funny. I should have listened to my wife. She goes, I don't know. There's something about this place that makes me. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's perfect for us. Now, the only reason that for me, I'm like, I don't have to do a lot of work to move in, because some of the other places they had old shag rug and paneling and drop ceilings. I would be like, how are we going to move? So this place, I was like, it was built in the 1940s. It was a box. It was a little box. No, it had no central air. I mean,
I
it's
love how you
unbelievable.
supply the voices too, by the way.
But it ended up in a very desirable neighborhood. So we bought into the right place. Just it wasn't a dream house. And at the closing of the house, as I was getting ready to sign the papers, the old lady selling the house to us says, "Oh, by the way, if you see a ghost, it's my mother-in-law,
No shit.
and her name's Ivy."
And we're glad to get rid of her.
Both realtors' mouths, their jaws dropped open. You could hear a pin drop.
No kidding.
Yeah, I swear to God. So congratulations, you just bought a ghost, and the house comes with it. So my wife we sat there, and I should have gone, "What the F are you talking about? Deal's off. Let's get out of here." But no, I signed the paper, and on the way out, I think Chicky punched me in the arm and it's like, "You bought a haunted house." And I was like, "Oh, I thought you didn't believe that," but I'm like, "Oh, that lady's crazy. She's crazy." So we move in, and having that hanging over your head a little bit was kind of a little uncomfortable. But I'm like, look, this little house here, it's a tiny little place, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, little place, and then weird stuff starts happening. And I'm trying to explain it off. I'm stuff falling off a shelf. I would get my level out, check. I'm like, it's level. I don't understand why in the middle of the night this is falling up, getting knocked off of here. We did have some cats, and so like, there's no way the cat. You're trying to come up with logical stuff, and a number of things happened. So of course, one of the first things that we did when we got in there, start painting the place. A buddy of mine and I tiled the whole place. Boy, that was backbreaking work. He was the expert. I was just I was his assistant, tile guy. And so we were working on the house. And so a lot of times they say if you start renovating an old house, that can stir spirits up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Like they're trapped
That's the old trick. They say if you renovate a house, I mean, you're pissing them off or something.
Yeah.
You got to do shit with them respect. But anyway, story on.
She this old lady, we found that she did die in the house. It was in the paperwork, and I don't know how long it was before they found her. She lived alone. But any case, we were in bed sleeping one night and started hearing all kinds of racket right above our heads in the attic. And this attic is just a small little attic. You can't stand up in it or anything. But kabam, kaboom, kabing, and it was like, oh my God, we've got a serious animal rodent problem or something's going on, but I was like, that does not sound like a mouse or a rat. I mean, this sounds like, family of raccoons up there or something.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of freaky. So, of course, the next morning, I got to stick my head up through the little crawl space and look around, hoping some rabid raccoon doesn't attach to my face or something. And I didn't see a dang thing. I went out on the roof. I was looking around. I saw a little crack where something might be able to get it. Try to block that. And it happened again. Well, so we called the trapper. And the trapper guy comes and he sets up a big trap up there. He goes, I don't see any real evidence of any big animal up here or anything. But he puts some bait in there, puts a trap, and nothing. So a week later, he comes and gets it. Well, then after that, stuff starts again. And the same guy shows up. He's like, you guys again? And we're like, yeah. Well, you know, stuff like this was happening, and it was really hard to explain away.
Bookmark that one. What'd Cindy just say? Put that up.
Well, I don't know. That's a possibility. I'm not sure about that.
So now we do a little research. And
So was the daughter-in-law of African American descent? You know, I mean, was like you met her, right?
The elderly woman selling me the house was not.
Okay.
But,
I mean, it doesn't mean that her mother-in-law was not.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, actually, Cindy might. I did a little research, and I can't. Okay. I don't want to talk too much about this, because this family exists somewhere.
Well, don't say the family, but I mean, you could roll along the lines.
But I am going to tell you this. I know for a fact that they lived in they lived in Haiti at one point in time.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
I know. She just said, "Oh shit," too.
So I keep feeling old blues music.
Wow. Okay.
I know she just said, "Oh shit."
It would be from that time and era, for the most part. But any case, whatever the deal was, she was there, and she really liked my one cat, who was a Siamese. She had a relationship with my cat, and I caught my cat talking one day. I was working on an illustration on a quiet Saturday. I'm just doing some artwork, and I hear my cat verbalize. I'm like, that's weird. Heidi, the cat, is talking, and usually she only does that when we're paying attention to her. And I got up quietly, and I walked around, and I looked, and she was in the second bedroom, which was at that time a guest bedroom. And she was sitting on the end of the bed, looking up into the center of the room, just chattering away. And I walked in and walked right into a cold spot. And it was ice cold. And I was like, oh, and I stepped back. I went, okay, I'm going to leave you two alone. And I walked out of there, and I'm like, oh, crap. So at that point, it was confirmation to me. All the hairs on my body were standing up, goosebumps and everything. And I realized, I'm like, oh, okay. Before I was trying to come up with logical explanations. But at that point, I think I knew, there's something happening.
Yeah. Well, before we come to the end of our show, I want to ask you this too. We're not coming to an end of a show, not at all. But I do want to say, because we have the old crew here, can Psychic Cindy come in?
You want to come in, Cindy? I can send you an invite.
And then we'll have a really good chat here, and we could probably go for a good 40 minutes.
Wait, Cindy? Do you know how long her lives are?
This is a great show. If she wants to join, I think I want her to join.
Cindy will do her feeds on YouTube, right? And they are literally minimum 3 hours.
And Barry, you get to literally hang out with the original crew on your first show here.
Hey, this is awesome. This is great. Well, listen, Cindy, if you pick up on anything that's going on right now with me,
so she can't join us, but that's all right. That's all right.
Well, maybe next time, some other time.
Oh, you'll be here. You'll meet her.
Yeah, you'll meet her.
At some point.
I'll tell you what, it's really exciting to see people chiming in and being involved in the conversation. So
we are not ending the show. I wanted to bring her in before we ended the show. We are not ending the show.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so I'll just kind of finish this house story up. I mean, for the most part, but there was a case where my wife and I both saw an entity, and there you go. And I tell you what, it gave me I had sleep issues after that. So, but the funny thing is, at one point, my wife, she goes by the name Chicky. She's like, I saw something different. I'm like, we both saw something, but it's like by your different perception or whatever. But it was in the middle of the night. I think our cat again was making some noise, and she woke up and saw a silhouette in the doorway being backlit by a window from the bathroom in the hall. And I heard her saying, "Who is that? Who's here?" And I woke up and I looked and I saw something in the doorway, and it floated across the room towards me. And the room was lit up enough from the streetlight outside. You could see things in the room. It's just, you know, but by the time it crossed over, it went from being like a shadow of a person into where I could see a misty apparition of a body, more or less. But it came right over to my side of the bed, and it stood there and looking down at me, and I could see kind of a form of a face. It was not in full details, but I mean, it was, pretty frightening and scared the shit out of me, and I had to get up and go to work in the next morning. Well, somewhere we were kind of in shock, and I don't know, somehow she rolled over and went back to sleep. I was awake the rest of the night, freaked out, and I went to work, and I was like, oh my God, we live in a haunted house, and when we got home, we didn't talk about it in the morning. We both just got ready to go to work, and we headed out the door. But when we came home that night, we're like, okay, what did you see? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
A little silhouette of a man.
Yeah. We ended up having a rule that you could not mention the name or talk about it in the house, because this being had she could be, there was time when she calmed down, but at one point I came home and my bathroom sink was ripped off of the wall, and I could not figure out any way that this could have happened. Thank God it didn't flood our house, but the whole dang thing was, I was shocked. I was like, what?
Another situation of somebody that was probably a jerk in real life and decides to still be one, or was confused mentally somehow.
Yeah, she may think that we're, in her home. She may not know that she's passed on. She may be like, this is my house and you're invading my home. I don't know.
That would be horrible. I would,
but also,
if I passed on, I would want to know. There's so many people I want to haunt.
I'm going to tell you something also disturbing. I've never talked too much about this ever. When we were having the air conditioning put into the house, these guys were running duct work up in the attic, and the guy that was doing the work yells down to my wife, I found something interesting up here. And he hands her a VHS tape.
Shit.
This is like a horror movie thing, right?
I know, I was going to say, what the fuck?
In the far corner of the attic is a VHS tape. And I couldn't even bring myself to watch this. I may have caught a glimpse of it, but so somewhere along the line, the woman had died many years prior to us moving in, and they rented the home out at one point. But apparently it was of a guy that was renting this place out, some creepy dude. And the neighbor guy told me that there was a creepy guy that lived there before. And he videotaped himself pleasuring himself in the middle of our living room or something. And then threw the tape up into so no wonder she was pissed off and stomping and baking all this racket up in the attic.
Christ.
Did it stop when the videotape came out?
You can't even look at the living room the same now, I bet, right?
I was just like, burn this thing, get this thing out of my house, and sage this house, man. I just whatever. But
now, are you familiar with Corey Watson? He had a thing.
That's my nephew. Hello.
Okay, very good. He says, my mom has told me all these stories. Did the ghosts have a name? And you just said that you didn't have a name,
but he says he doesn't say the name.
Okay, so maybe that's something you guys got to talk about within the family then. Very good, very good. Mary Anderson says
we had a very specific name for our ghost as children, but because oh gosh, I want to say it, but I'm going to hesitate because of family members.
I would not say it. I would not say it. Keep it within your family and keep it within the for this is discussion I do. We're going to tell everybody what the deal is, even though I said it, that you are a BB3 member. So, I mean, you have future shows ahead of you.
Yeah. And this story continues on. So, it's ironic that the childhood name that we gave the ghost actually is a person who passed away in the house. So, we children, I don't know if, people told us the name when we moved it, as kids. I mean, we were very young. I was in second grade when we moved in there. And I remember my first impression when I saw that house as a child, I looked at it and I said out loud in front of my dad, which was a mistake. That's why I remember this. I was getting ready to go into second grade, so I wasn't even in second grade. I just looked at the house and I went, I don't like this house. And my dad was pissed, and he's,
Yeah.
You don't appreciate damn thing. Gonna smack me upside the head or something, probably. And I still remember it, but it was the first impression that I got looking at it. Gave me a bad vibe, I guess, and
Yeah.
I openly expressed my feelings about it, and he did not like that at all. So,
Do you still have that VHS tape?
hell no.
Oh, I mean, you
Good
should have put it in the archives. I mean, that's
Uh,
shit that's
oh.
fucking crazy.
Horrible.
You have a question here. Did
Disturbing.
you ever have anything attached to you, Barry? So there's a question from Carmen.
Well, hi, Carmen. You know what? Who knows? We all may have at one point in our lives, I mean, not to my knowledge, but yes, you know what? I'm going to tell a story that I just learned about
Please
this
do.
house. And it's disturbing to me. It was kind of a mind blower. And
It's not a VHS, is it?
Yeah. Hey,
Okay.
if that is that's more disturbing than any of this stuff. But if my childhood family, my childhood friends that live nearby are listening in, feel free to give a thumbs up here. I got together with childhood friends, my brother, my sister. My one sister was working, but we joined forces onto the front porch of our neighbors from my childhood. We all got together, and we were talking stories about the good old days, and some not good things. But as kids, we ran and played, and had a wild, crazy time, and it was awesome. But my buddy, I'm just gonna say Mark. Hi, Mark, if you're out there. His older brother was the cool teenager guy with the hot girlfriend, and he, so I always look up to him, but he's now living in the family home over there, and we were talking about it, and we kind of just said, hey, that house over there when we were growing up was, kind of a bit of a nightmare for it. We started talking about it, and the older brother Tim said, when I was a kid, a man used to live there, and he was a ventriloquist, and he would sit out there and do little ventriloquist shows for the kids in the neighborhood. And I was like, oh my God, that is so freaking weird. Because when I was a kid and I moved in there, I wanted to be a ventriloquist, and I got the doll and these records. I used to sit in my room listening to him practicing A-E-I-O-U.
Holy shit.
It's so freaky, I was like, okay, so what was that all about? Was it coincidental? Maybe, or maybe was the house, something in the house inspired me, or, did something to me to want to continue on with the puppet show? I don't know. But once I got the puppet and everything, and I started getting kind of freaked out having that in my room, I know I would throw a jacket or something over it at night, because I knew possibility of it talking in the middle of the night could happen. So I gave up on my ventriloquist act eventually, but I learned about girls and rock and roll, and I threw a lot of that other stuff out of the way. So.
Nothing wrong with that
Damn
either.
it.
Let's,
I'm really late with this. I'm trying to download something really quick here.
It's all good. All good. Reminds me of Goosebumps. I want you to get into the recent cemetery experience.
Yeah. Wow. My whole trip up there was kind of crazy. I did not expect to run into so many very bizarre things that were more than coincidence, So I was taking a leisurely drive around the lake, and it's a beautiful lake, Chautauqua Lake, gorgeous lake. And I was by myself that day, and I was coming around the long way around the lake. I say that way because most of the stuff that we were doing, well, I went around this long length of. You could go across the lake by bridge now, so they built a big bridge across there. But I decided to go the scenic route and just remembering good old days. There's an old amusement park from the 1800s that's still up and running there. I mean, this place has a lot of history to it. But as I come around, I saw a cemetery, and the cemetery is in a kind of a village community. And I remember doing some of the research on the house from the child that somebody who had passed away in there was buried in there. And I was really going to get some food and say hello to my sister who works in that village. But I just sporadically turned into the cemetery. And when I did, I said out loud, the person that I'm not going to mention, if you're here, show me where, or what, I knew he was there, but I said, show me where you're at, kind of a thing. And I pulled in and I looked around and I was like, oh, I'm not going to get out and go walk around here aimlessly. I was hungry. I did, aimlessly looking for this person's grave, but because I looked, I was like, oh, this would take hours probably to try to locate this. So I drove down the road slowly and I made a loop and was heading back out of the cemetery. And I just glanced over and I saw a name of somebody. And I was like, that I recognized. I stopped the car and I jumped out and I got over there. It was my junior high school art teacher whom I loved and adored. And he was a great inspiration to me at a really difficult time in my life. And I was just like, oh my gosh, and I thanked him. I say, oh, you're such an incredible artist. Thank you for your inspiration. You've changed my life. It was a touching moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I looked up, right behind it was the grave of the man that we believe could possibly be haunting that house or one of the things.
Yeah, there was.
That was what I was trying to download for the dummy story.
Yeah,
and I should have known it.
So yeah, that would have. Oh, you could do a good impersonation of that. That
I never looked at my phone like I had that ringtone. You ass.
It was a bit of a mind blower. I mean, when that happened, I was just like, wow, okay, this. What are the odds of this? I just kind of was like a moment, like, oh my gosh, that was crazy. But it's not the first time weird things like this have happened, but there was just another thing. So yeah, there's still a lot of stuff.
I want to get into our last subject. We are at the 30-minute marker where we'll probably end or less. So there was a time.
An hour and 30.
Did I say what I say?
You said 30 minutes. It's like if we were at the 30-minute mark, this would be an hour ago.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
This 30-minute marker. There was a time, Barry, you and I talked on the phone. But like
I told you a lot of things that I'm like, what? I don't even know this guy, and I just opened up and told you everything.
That's why you're part of the family. So I want to start. There was a time I was in South Florida, and I was at a bar, very classy bar. Women looked like Michelle Pfeiffer next to me, and then there was a gentleman next to me. And Tom, I want you to chime in on this too, and see what it's about, because you see what I get into. This is the moment that I told you, Barry, that the only moment I felt in my life that time stopped.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
I looked around, nothing was moving like crazy. I know we were drinking and shit like that. I mean, but it wasn't like a crazy thing, but like, she looked at me and we had a conversation. She looked like Michelle Pfeiffer, beautiful, blonde, probably in her 50s, in a white dress in Del Rey. I mean, really, I'm going to get into it. Like, she was sexually attracted to me and shit like that, but it was nothing like that. It was almost like I met a witch that night. Ooh. And she told me, she goes, everybody around you is all for themselves, and you are stronger than everything. But within that thing, when I'm saying where time stopped, there was no music, there was no movement in the bar, there was no acknowledgement with anybody around. The only thing I heard was the conversation between her and I, and when it was done, I've never seen her again.
Very weird.
It was it. So
But was
was
she a
that
living,
witchcraft?
human, breathing person, or was she some type of an entity? Or
Alien?
yeah, I
Maybe.
mean,
This
you
is
know,
where we're gonna end. I'm not sure. Where do we go with this?
some
Was it live or was it
some kind of a
memorized?
time slip,
It
something.
was in Delray Beach, and I'll never forget it. I can't forget her face. She looked like Michelle Pfeiffer. I'm not. I'm. There's something I cannot forget here.
Well, you wouldn't forget something like that. That's for
Yeah.
sure. So it is
So
very interesting and very intriguing, and it's bizarre as well. But you know what? There are some people who do have abilities that can do things that are beyond
yeah,
our comprehension. But I guess for the rest of your life, you're going to wonder what in the world happened. That
I'll
maybe
never know there. But so you talk about extraterrestrial. I
I
felt
do.
it. I've seen a couple UFOs. I could describe to you the UFOs I've seen. I could tell them they're blacker than a black I've ever seen, in a slow moving, very fast pace across the sky, as if it were just something of a breath going across, but so fast and blacker than a black I've ever seen. Was this an extraterrestrial experience? I've seen things, with my cousin saying, maybe I've got abducted, or like meditations and shit like that. I'm a big believer in we're not the fucking only ones here.
No, we are not. I know that for a fact that we are not. You know, I have no doubts in my mind. You know, since I was a very small child, I had an interest in the subject. And my grandmother, the clairvoyant, told me, and my cousin just mentioned it the other day on Facebook, that my grandparents had close encounters with UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
Coming back from my grandmother's readings at night in the country, up in Western New York, seems like there's a lot of stuff up in that area. And if you sit out and what, I've seen many things, but I'm like, well, maybe it's because I was looking more than other people, but sometimes I wonder, um, if you focus your thoughts, that you could see these things. I don't know. I mean, one time, sounds crazy, I was laying in a dental chair in Florida, kicked back, getting a root canal of all things. I was not on any medications, but I had one view of the sky from the position I was in. The dentist left the room, and I was just looking at a big billowy cloud, and I just see a silver rounded object come out of it, sit there for a second, and then it just went right back in. It's almost like, hey, look at me, But it was just that moment where I was like, whoa, whoa, But I've seen a lot of things like that, and actually, a childhood friend again, that I just saw when I went home, corroborated with me that we had witnessed as children a flying saucer, a low flying disc over us in Allegheny State National Forest. And I've always, for years, wondered about that. I mean, because we were like, I was maybe 10 years old or 9, 10. I don't, probably 10 years old. And just remember us running, being in terror of something and trying to tell the adults. Now, there was parts of it where I'm like, I'm like, he remembered the same things that I did. So I go, well, something happened, for sure. If it was only me saying it, then, but there's been a lot of interesting things through the years that make me go, yeah, something's happened. It may be connected again to my family, possibly. I don't know, or the area that we grew up in. I've had a lot of dreams about UFOs, and
Sure.
actually had a very, very vivid one a number of years ago. And it was a dream, but it was so specific and so interesting that you go, what was this about? And what the dream is that I felt in my dream, I felt wetness under my feet, and I woke up out of I was sleepwalking I was dreaming that I was sleepwalking, and I was in a field with wetness under dew on my feet from grass, and I was in my pajamas, and I was a kid, and I looked around. It was nighttime, and there's a field at the end of my um, street that I lived on that's still there, and there were some woods that we used to play in back there. And I looked around, and there were people in their sleep clothing heading towards a light, towards the woods, and they were neighbors, just all walking in a trance. And I looked over, and there's a little boy there, and it was my brother's good buddy who was younger than me, and he was at the same age range from back then. And I woke him up out of his trance, and he said, "What's going on?" And I said, "I don't know, but we're supposed to go to that light, you know." And as we were getting closer, it was a landed flying saucer with a ramp down and lights glowing, and people were entering into the ship. And as I was entering into it, that's where everything stopped. But it was so vivid, and I haven't thought about that child who's now a grown man in years and years, and the details of the location and the details of everything, and just seeing a neighborhood of people. It was a weird dream. I mean, where did this come from? I just can't.
It might not even be a dream. I do want to throw in though, like I showed my phone a minute ago. Tom was doing all the comments and stuff, but like even on my cellular right now, you are getting so many props from people. That's what I was showing. Like much love, because these people are watching without being able to throw in the comments. Barry, you are getting so many hits everywhere.
When you open up like this, nobody wants to be, hey, you moron, who are you making this? Look, I have nothing to gain here. Well, maybe I did. I don't know. I gained friends.
You got a fucking show.
I gained friends, but for years, anytime I opened up to somebody, you never knew. When I met my wife and we became closer, when we moved in together, weird things started to happen. And this is in 1987. I had to kind of go, paranormal shit happens in my life. What do you mean by that? Because she was waking up and hearing things, pings and things, and I believe that I may have possibly, I can't say it out loud, it's so hard to say. I had an epiphany in 1987 that I believe that I very well could have been abducted, and I thought about getting hypnotized. I have been a member of MUFON since 1997.
Actually, I got a picture with an alien. I'm going to send it to Tom. We're going to put it up there.
There you go. I've been a member of MUFON. I've been studying the subject for most of my life. I've had people scoff at me about the subject, and I say, well, how many books have you read on it? None. I said, well, I've read hundreds of books, and I don't believe everything I read, but I've studied this nearly most of my life, and I know that my grandparents would never lie to me, and by telling me, and as a matter of fact, they said, don't tell anybody because they'll think we're crazy. Now here's another strange thing that happened to me, and there's a long story involved that I won't get into because there's not enough time, probably. But
you could get into it. I mean, there's enough time. We're working on 20 minutes, so we could go a little over. You're right. You just said the right words. I'm just going to stop you there. Some things are just meant for your show. There you are with an alien.
All right. Well, there you go. So proud card-carrying member of MUFON. So,
we know a lot of people too. We're connected to a lot of people with this. So we're going to help you as much as we can. You're family to us now, bro.
Thank you, man.
I'll tell you what, with aliens, for us to think that we are the only ones out here in this entire universe is a very callous, inward way of thinking, because there's no way that this just happened on one little rock out there in space. Now, whether or not they have the ability to come visit us or not is another conversation altogether. But I know there's something out there.
They're so advanced. They're so advanced, and there's also possibility of alternative universe that's you know, like a portal,
Yeah.
you know, some type of portal where they come in and out, you know.
I believe in
And
that.
we could be their
So-
experiment. We could be
Yeah.
something that they just did to see
Well,
how it goes. And that's why they
I've
keep
always
coming.
wondered, you know, I'm like, what's the fascination here? Now, I know that some people say they look for specific bloodlines and so forth. I don't, you know, they could be
Well,
studying people. I am Scandinavian for the most part. Both of my mother and father were Andersons before marrying. So, not that that has anything to do with anything, but I have A negative blood. Whether that has anything to do with it, I don't know. You know, what is it that they want to know? Why would they be experimenting on people? And when I told you about being 4 years old, I have memories of being taken out of my room, floated out into some a spaceship, I guess, if you put onto a medical table and being looked at and examined.
send a
And
link to Cindy.
I'm coming forward and talking about it right now, and I'm not holding it back
Just
now.
do it.
But
Tom, send a link to Cindy. Sorry.
I knew nothing about.
What
I
chance
knew
are we
nothing
doing?
about aliens. I knew nothing about that stuff at that time. It was later that it came to me in 1987, and I found out about Bud Hopkins, and he wrote a book, Intruders. And when I read it, it all came forward to and went, "Oh my God, this is real. This really happened." Prior to that, I was like, "Is this the imagination of a crazy little kid?" But I remember freaking out when my mom took me to the dentist as a little child, and absolutely going berserk. And you know, it was right around the time where I believe I had been abducted. But the funny thing is, at first I thought these things were friendly, and then it got scary because it became medical.
I'm
And
gonna. I want to share one thing with you before Cindy comes in. Um,
She's a
uncle-
nutcase. No, I'm just kidding.
No, somebody.
it's my sister
Somebody-
Mary.
I almost said it without it even saying it. Somebody I know was a nuclear. He worked for nuclear medicine, Area 51. Okay, it's been years now. I've said this on another show, possibly too. Area 51. He said that it's tough to say, but Roswell was real, and it's still there. That all shit was real. So this is the shit that makes me question everything with God and everything. But like, you know, with anything with the biblical things, you could see the hieroglyphics of there being UFOs in the air and in carvings of caves, and there's always been something in the air. So with him knowing what he does, and it's been years by saying anyone could say we're crazy. This is the whole point of like the debunking.
Sure.
But like,
All right.
I trust this individual. We run the same blood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just kind of one of these things where it's like, once years and you're retired, you could say it.
Yeah.
He'll never talk to you on a show. But like,
No,
when you're
well,
sitting
that's
at
the
your
thing.
table,
They are threatened harshly by government or men in black government officials that you will lose your pension, you will lose everything. You're threatened. I mean, it's a real threat.
So that's a thing where when I'm able to tell people now what I know, I'm confident by saying we're not the only ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I believe it now. And this is
Well-
where like all these abductions and like that shit where time stopped.
She'll
Yeah.
be
I
in when
really
she's
believe there
done.
was
She's up
Okay.
next. She said she's up next. She'll be in when she's done.
we're not going to be here much longer, but I mean, we're coming to the end of our show. So you said
I
she was
do
gonna-
believe that they have
Right.
the ability to, you know, do things that are incredible and
Mhm.
unimaginable for us at this point in our, you know, evolution. We could not imagine how advanced they are. So they have the ability to do things, and you know, so whatever your experience is, it's a possibility
Yeah,
that
man.
they could be walking amongst us, and you know, so it is possible.
Yeah, no, it's actually, you know, it's breathtaking and beautiful at the same time because, you know, you have to be so fucking naive, like everyone else says, that to if you think you're the only one on this earth, I mean, I always make the joke, what if we are there's just the microscopic piece of shit that like landed on Earth out of their toilet, like the planes drop in the oceans? What if we are that being? I mean, I always make that joke, but I mean, at the same time, we were built from something. We were built from something more, and the paranormal is the reason why we do this. We also do the research with aliens and something else more. All these different religions, you know, we got to find God somehow to feel good, or to find ourselves spiritually within our families. Everything all comes back to some kind of weird vibrational energy. You know, the only thing I don't believe in is an atheist. If you're an atheist, I think you're a dickhead. And I'll tell you this, and I'll say why. If you have that thought in your body that you believe in nothing, that there's nothing more to this earth, then you know, I don't you don't really have anything to say about anybody. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like,
you know, the funny thing is the guy that tried to out me out at my a former workplace many years ago now, he was an atheist and didn't believe in it. You know, so and again I said, well, how many books have you read on the subject? None.
yeah,
You know, but then he goes and tries to use that against me
yeah,
to try to make my new boss think I'm crazy or
no,
something.
yeah,
It's just like, wow, thanks. You know, I mean, thanks so much. I thought we were, you know, at least decent coworkers to one another, but I made a mistake of opening up and talking about that to him. But you know what?
you
There's just
didn't though. You didn't make a mistake, and I'll tell you this: comes from paranormal too. You didn't make a mistake. You got to learn from
wow, it's,
somebody.
yeah,
That's what it comes from. Fuck
yeah.
people like that. Honestly, like, you know,
Well,
everyone's gonna put you down. Everyone's gonna say, "Well, this
I,
your evidence is bullshit." They weren't sitting there with you. You know,
I'm, yeah, I'm not interested in arguing with. You can believe, you can put your head up your butt and not
mhm,
believe anything at all,
I can't.
or you can at least read a book once in a while, you know, or at least consider the possibilities that there are things that we don't understand. You know, I
I,
mean,
I agree with
you
that.
know, that's all I can say about that. Again, life's too short. I'm going to keep moving forward. I
Sure.
feel blessed that I know these things in many ways. Sometimes things can feel like a bit of a curse too when you have crazy experience, but really to have some knowledge that you know, that there is an alternative world out there. There, you know, there is a spirit world. There
Yeah,
are beings out there. We are not alone in the universe. There's no way. And you know, I feel privileged to at least know that. But
absolutely.
Right.
you know, I
And
leaves me
everybody
with a whole lot of questions.
everybody
Well,
can have their own set of beliefs, and this goes for things that are spiritual, paranormal, political, like everything. Everybody has their own set of beliefs. There's no reason why any one
absolutely.
of us needs to convince somebody that doesn't believe what we believe in what we believe in. If
Sure.
they don't believe in it, fine, live and let live. You know what you
Love it.
know, they know what they know.
You know, like if I was born in India, I would be Hindu. If I was born in China, I'd probably be a Buddhist. You know,
You
I mean,
see,
I was
you
born in the
see.
United States, and you know, so therefore I was exposed to the Christian belief. But for me, I consider myself a spiritual person.
That's the
I
way.
am
Yep.
open-minded to things. I don't want to belong to a singular organization that's structured with political and other things involved with that. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, I've seen some things that I just go,
Yeah.
that is not for me, you know, but
Yeah.
you know, as long as people aren't trying to cram it down, I'm not trying to cram my thoughts down anybody's
Nope.
throat. You know, hey, you can listen to my stories, you can talk to me about it, we can debate things, but you know, I'm not going to try to change anybody's beliefs. You know,
Right.
if you're wanting to have a real conversation about it, let's do it. You know,
So, speaking on that level,
doing it.
as we end this now, as you want to have a real conversation about it, now you are a BB3. You will have real conversations about it. The way I'm going to work this right now is we're going to go right down the line. We're going to plug everybody as far as where we
Awesome.
go. Tom's going to be first. I'm going to put everybody on full screen and then bring you down. Barry,
I
we're
don't
going to
think
go to
anybody
you.
wants to see me on full screen.
And then we're going to go all the way around. Guys, I just want to say to you right in front of everybody, I really appreciate it, Tom. Thank you for jumping in too. It's always, you're family to me. I love you, brother, and thank you for
Love you
everything.
too.
I love the way we work BB3 TV. This is the way it should have been right from the start, bro.
You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, I wouldn't have it
We
any
try.
other way. So, I mean, Tom, you work hard here, and honestly, I give you so much credit, and I wouldn't do this without you. I mean that. Barry, I'm so good with you being a part of this network now.
Thank you.
I'm so happy. I can't wait to see how much this journey goes.
Well, I
And
hope
where
that
we take it.
Continue on to collaborate and to just
it.
know each other more and enjoy our conversations together. And
you and I are both cinema, but you guys both said it last night, so I have an idea for both of you. Okay.
Yeah.
So Dom and Tom have a world.
Yeah.
What about Barry and Tom? You guys like doing the voices?
The voices.
Hey.
I don't do impressions. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, it's funny. I was thinking about something. Was thinking it more in terms for like a kid's thing, but I was like, it might be kind of fun to do something lighthearted and do some
play real quick. Both of you play real quick. Both of you have that fucking crazy. I know Tom's got that crazy shit. So both of you play real quick.
I don't know if I'm capable of doing such a thing right now.
Wait a minute, I can't just randomly grab a voice.
Yes,
I have
you
to
got
have
it now.
some
He did it.
I mean, I can.
You can do it. I know you can.
No,
Now,
shoot!
listen.
Nah, I can't do that. You know what I did today?
You want to watch? I got some watches here for you. You interested in a watch?
Want to buy a watch? Not that one. Not that one.
Step into the alley here.
There
Hey,
you
your
go.
boss, huh? Yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
I love it.
When I was in traffic today, in that I talked about in the beginning, there's a dude next to me who has a van, and there's a picture of Rick from Rick and Morty, just like peeking up, giving two middle fingers. I rolled down my window and I waited for him to roll down his, but he never did. I was going to be like, "Hey, I really like the fact that you got my picture there on the side of your van, and I'm just saying that I'm glad that you don't have Morty on there because he's kind of a pussy." And oh, Rick, why do you always got to do that to me? Oh, shut up, Morty. You don't know what you're talking about.
Well, hey, this could be a beginning of something interesting. You never know. I mean, we can have some fun with this.
And as we go, all right, starting from the top, we're going to bring in Tom as full screen. Plug yourself.
Ew, I'm not going to do that on live. All right. So first and foremost, you can find me here on BB3 TV with Dom and Tom's World. I am still, to this day, toying with the idea of doing a show to help others with their YouTube channels. So we'll see where that goes. Other than that, speaking of YouTube, you can find me on there, on BB3's YouTube, as well as my own. This is Tom's World. This is Tom's World. So it's youtube.com/This Is Tom's World. Go subscribe, make sure you are subscribed and like BB3 on YouTube as well.
I'm Barry Anderson.
Tell who you are.
Hopefully we will be part of this show and make something happen that's fun. I don't know. It might be called My Weird World, but I'm kind of liking that. And I think it leaves things open to a lot of strange and interesting subjects. So hang in there. We're going to get something going, and you'll see me again.
So, surprise.
Dun, dun, dun.
Surprise!
Hi.
Psychic Cindy's here.
Shaking Cindy.
Hi, Cindy.
Hey,
Nice
Barry.
to meet
How
you.
are you? Nice to meet you.
There's my bro. I just saw my brother pop in there.
He's there.
Oh, nice. Nice. I'm on another show at the same time right now, so
Oh.
I'm trying to pay attention to both.
And we were
Wow.
just leaving, but I had to bring you in out of respect because you know how much I love you and how much I respect you, my friend.
And I can't think of the last time you were on a live feed with us.
I know. It's been a while.
Been quite a while.
It's been a while.
It's been a
Hang
hot
on. I'm
minute.
just trying to get back in there.
Tom, introduce Cindy. Quick intermission.
Quick intermission. Where is he going? Oh, he left his camera. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, as you all know who have been here for quite some time, this is the Psychic Cindy. She has been on and off shows with us for quite some time, since before BB3, actually.
That's right.
Going back to other networks that should not be named. And
You're ridiculous.
Hey, well, no,
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
good times. They were good times. You know, I don't look at anything in any negative way.
We're not talking about teddies, though.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No. Not talking
We're talking about those
WLFE.
who shall remain nameless, like
That's right.
Voldemort.
That's right.
Those who shall remain nameless.
But they have
Yes.
noses, so that's different because Voldemort does not.
Those who shall remain noseless.
That's
All
right.
right, I'm gonna shut up.
And then when they talk, they just sound like this all the time. They don't have any nasal cavity.
It's not just
I just have to keep going out. Sorry.
Sorry. You don't.
Well,
I don't.
Cindy,
I don't
it's
think.
really exciting to get a chance to meet you, and I hope to learn a lot more about you now that I've gotten to know these guys.
Yes. Well, I was like you were talking about this, and this is the thing: is I was already on a psychic high because I was already doing a case, which I'm doing a podcast for. Literally, I'm right in the middle. I just was on, but we're going to be doing a wrap up and putting everybody together in just a little bit. But it was interesting because I was already on a psychic high. So when you start talking, I'm like, weep you.
I got some
I'm just going there.
psychic stuff. Well, listen, yeah, I mean, it's so nice to be able to openly talk about this stuff.
It is, right? Yeah.
I mean, I can't walk out to my neighborhood here and have these. I'm already the neighborhood odd fellow, but I can't go out there and just go, I had a vision this morning, and so it's
I
nice
do.
to be able to. Yeah, I mean,
I just say it.
I'm getting to the point where I'm just going to start talking about these things and whatever,
Hey,
Because
mailman, come here.
Think about it this way,
Talk
Barry.
about this.
Think about it this way, Barry. If you're afraid to talk about it, how many others are afraid to talk about it? And if you just start talking about it, then people just will automatically open up, right?
Right.
So that's the thing is. And the other thing I wanted to say is, I'm glad that you had the experience with your whole family because they can corroborate
absolutely
your experience. And I think that's so huge and important when you have an experience and you can have it corroborated by other people.
Yes,
like it may not be the exact same thing that they see, like a color may be different or something, but it's pretty amazing when you all experience some sort of similarity.
Yeah, it was really nice to be able to get together and talk about that. And
now someone comes into this situation.
Sorry, I have to keep popping in to make sure I'm not.
I was like, there's a fifth person in here.
Where did the other voice come from? Oh my God, Cindy's ghosts are here.
I thought I was going to get abducted
I
tonight.
developed psychic abilities.
Corroborate. This is the word. Corroborate tonight.
Corroborate.
That was actually kind of weird.
You say you talk about being on a psychic high, and just in my mind, it's like Tommy Chong. Just, all right, man, listen, I'm gonna give you some tarot cards,
listen. Cindy's talking about dead people, eh?
No, wait, man, I got some tarot cards. Hey, man, you ain't got no tarot cards. Oh no, shut up, man.
You and I need to get together and
I
come
told
up with
you.
something. I've been thinking about something like this for a while, but now that I know you do this, we're gonna have to talk. We're gonna have to talk.
I've done this my whole
Perfect.
life.
That sounds great.
Me too.
So you can reach me right there on Facebook or
Cindy, I don't want to say the word, but plug yourself real quick.
what? Plug myself. I'm the Psychic Cindy. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all of the places as the Psychic Cindy. If you hit me up on the Psychic Cindy on Facebook, I'm more apt to look at the messages. I'm pretty bad at my social medias, but I'm getting better. I'm a work in progress. But yeah, I'll definitely see the messages there if you want to contact me on Facebook. Yeah.
And if you need to get a hold of her, let us know too. Cindy has been family to me since day one, just like with Tom Nally. So we're just a family growing as we just do what we love to do. So I really appreciate everyone. Barry, you coming into the BB3 TV family, you have a lot of options. You have a lot of people that you could have on your show. You could always reach out to Cindy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Roster. I mean, just do it.
Yeah,
make the world yours, as Scarface said, right? The world is mine. Make it yours, brother.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, speaking of Scarface, I got a friend that worked on that, and he would be a great guest. So
I would
Oh,
love.
that would
so
be
many,
awesome.
so many interesting people. Well, I'll
You
tell you
guys,
what.
I
very
would
excited.
love to stay, but I have to check again to
We're
make sure
leaving
I'm
right
not
now too,
Cindy.
Cindy.
missed.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. It was nice to meet you, Barry. And
Nice
I
to
look
meet
forward
you.
to talking to you again.
I do too. Thank you.
Bye.
There you
Yeah.
go. It's all there for you. It's paved out. You're in
Awesome.
BB3. You're here. What I'm gonna say, I was gonna just kind of end it, but we're definitely gonna say goodbye. Everyone has said their piece. I want to thank everyone for joining in tonight. You guys once again made a great show, and I want to repeat myself as a broken record, but the point of the BB3 was all of you guys literally commenting in. And then, we put up your comments. This is the point of a show. You guys were all point of the show. If many shows should start, doing this, their audience really is the show.
Yeah.
If there's just two boys up top or, three dudes or whatever, just talking, and it's just, you think about what I just said, Tom.
I think I saw somebody from Indonesia has chimed in there.
Oh yeah, Jing.
I think she's a BB3.
She's
So
been part of
that's
BB3 for a
You know,
while.
to
If
think
you
that
don't-
people all around are listening in.
if you don't add the audience in your show, you have no show. You're just three
Sure.
assholes talking. This is the show, the audience. So
Hi, Kelly.
Mary,
Love you.
this will
It's
be
nice to see some family chime in and some friends. So
one of the last that you and I speak for a while until we're on a show and shit together on live. We're going to speak every day, but I mean, thank you for being who you are.
Thank you.
I mean, I really, really mean that, man. You're family to us now. And
That's
I think
great.
you're going to have a top show here. Your audience is already here.
I mean, my
You're
brain
fucking-
has just been going, whoa, I'm just like, okay, got to reel it in a little bit and think this out.
Indeed.
But I'm excited. I'm very excited about that. And so, yeah, it's going to be
Just do it.
Great.
For BB3 TV, I want to say thank you for joining Real Talk with Dom. This is my first show back, and I plan on going a singles route. Also with Dom and Tom's World, we got it. I was so proud to say we are here, we are now, and I got Boo behind me just like when I started. He rolls his eyes every time I say it, but he's got his slogans too. But everybody loves we are now. It was so
you're the
good
only
to
one
say.
that loves that.
Everybody loves that shit. It's not the slogan. But
You got it.
Guys,
fun, man. So
anyone,
great to just be able to
just
be relaxed and shoot the shit, and you make people feel comfortable. I mean, my gosh, I don't go around talking about this stuff all the time, but you guys, I felt comfortable to do it on your show. So thanks.
I appreciate
BB3 TV, like, share, follow, subscribe, interact. Most importantly, enjoy. Thank you, everybody.